Ladies and gents, we're using another hybrid tactic today, and this time on the Steam Workshop page, it has a slew of information, just a massive amount for you to follow. Unfortunately, this is a sim, and yeah, we didn't get to follow any of those instructions, so let's take a look at how it worked out. Unfortunately, as you see, didn't work out at all. I mean, Tottenham lying in 13th place. It definitely did not work for them. Newcastle in 12th. Wolves in 8 are thereabouts. You know, you'd expect they're around. But Tottenham and Newcastle definitely did not work. Again, though, this tactic has a slew of information that you should follow, and even goes so far into depth of what you should be using, how you should be balancing your attacks and everything, that it really needs a personalized touch. So I would love to know if anyone has used this tactic specifically. But I mean, they also use Liverpool, so you're bound to go tops with that. But this tactic has so much detail in it that I kind of want to use it and test it out on my own throughout a season just to see how it works. But since this is just a tactic test that we do every single time with 3 teams, simmed throughout the entire season with transfers, but no other touches, no other, hands on anything, it didn't work out very well for just that. But for the tactic itself, as you can see, it is a hybrid 4-3-3 and 4-4-2. You do have a sweeper keeper in support. You have a fullback on defend. You have a ball playing defender on defend. You have a central defender on defend. A DM in support. A complete wingback in support. A roaming playmaker in support, and then continuing our way up, inverted winger on support, an attacking midfielder on support, an inside forward on support, and a pressing forward on support. There's a lot of support here. Now, the one thing, opposition's instructions, I will get to it now. They don't show any here, but there's a full write-up on the Steam Workshop on how to actually do it. And there's images and everything of how you're supposed to set everything up. So, while we have nothing in the downloadable tactic, definitely go to the Steam Workshop, link in the description, and you will see everything that you could possibly ever want with this tactic. Try it out, let us know how it goes. But the tactic itself, back to it, in possession, fairly wide attacking with play out of defense, shorter passing directness, tempo is slightly higher, time wasting is sometimes here, mixed crosses, work the ball in the box, run at defense, and be more disciplined. In transition, counter press, hold shape, slow pace down, and roll it out. An interesting set of choices there from what I'm used to, especially with Liverpool. High press line of engagement, much higher defensive line, prevent short goalkeeper distribution, slightly more often on the trigger press, and step up more in the defensive line. That is your tactic. That is everything with it. But if we go back to the table, that poor Tottenham team, just 46 points, only 13 points above relegation. Not a great job there. And Newcastle just above them on the same point difference. Better in goal difference, but wow. That is an interesting tactic to see the results in. Schedule-wise, Manchester United 7-1 thrashing. And then that just killed the team for the next 2 matches. But a fantastic September. A good start to October, but then 4 in a row. That's not great. Borussia Dortmund, the Champions League Group D. It looks like, I'm going to guess, well, actually, no, you got a couple of wins in there anyway. But winning in the EFL Cup 3rd round, again in the EFL Cup 4th round against Middlesbrough, FA Cup, EFL Cup, you're doing well. You are knocked down to the Europa League. That's where you see it. Trabzonspor 4-1 win at home, 2-2 draw, so you continue on. 5-1 against Braga, 3-2 against Braga, and 2-4 loss against Feyenoord, 5-3 in penalties, and then that's it? Why would you go to penalties and win and not move on? I'm very confused at that. But right after that win, I mean, this entire April and May look awful. No, Champions League knocked out. Europa League knocked out in quarters by Feyenoord. I don't understand that. If someone could explain that to me. So you lose 2-4, you win 5-3 in penalties, but you're still knocked out. The away rule is not there anymore. So I'm really baffled by that, but overall, not great. FA Cup, there's the Liverpool loss, 1-4 in the FA Cup quarters. EFL Cup, where did you lose out there? Right there, 0-1 to Manchester United. The bogey team, completely. Schedule-wise for Newcastle, Very spotty. A bad September right there. A fantastic October, though. But finishing out with losses in the EFL Cup third round against Crystal Palace and then Arsenal in the Premier League. Starting off bad against Man City, Aston Villa, and Fulham. I mean, this whole area just is awful. But West Brom kicking the crap out of them 7-0 in the FA Cup third round replay. Fourth round draw, and then you lose out to Chelsea 1-3. So your cups are done. But overall, I mean, look at that sea of red. Fantastic March with 2 matches at that, and that's it. And then a fantastic, May, except for that last match of the season against Liverpool, 1-2. Overall, very spotty. Wolves, however, they are the ones in the lead, and they actually have a much better run. Horrible September again. September's awful for these people. But one loss in August, one loss in October, moving on in everything until the second season or the second half of the season, losing out in the EFL Cup fourth round to Birmingham of all teams, and then it just kicked off just a woeful row with one win in the FA Cup third round against Crystal Palace, Port Vale. Just spotty. I mean, 3 losses in a row right there. 1-7 against Man City in the FA Cup quarters, where you're knocked out. But man, that is awful. And then a just horrific May. So overall, you can tell. I mean, if they had a much better run in the second half of the season, would have finished higher. But sadly, not here. Transfer wise for Wolves, Cedric comes in from Arsenal for 4.8 million, and then Thiago Santos from Estoril Praia. I know they've got him before, but for 1 million. Ruben Neves out yet again, as always. And then Newcastle, transfer wise, same. Vlachodimos, I apologize, for 13. Malcolm for 41.5. That is an interesting pickup I haven't seen before. Ronnie Edwards from Peterborough, Kavarn Williams we've seen before, and overall, the same things as usual. And then Tottenham, the one with the money. Let's see how they do. Riddle Baku from Wolfsburg, 9.75. Herving Lozano from Napoli at 15. Joel Mvuka, 2.5. So things that we've seen before. Marco Asensio for 17.25. And then out, same as always, Niall John and Fagan Walcott. So transfer-wise, pretty much the same with a couple of new ones in there. I am disappointed in the transfers. They always seem to target the same people over and over again. Maybe have a change here and there, but overall, it's the same people out, it's the same people in, and it's kind of sad to see. Stats-wise, Wolves in there with 62 goals and tied for 5th most. Fewest shots against Tottenham, 445, so it's much more defensive for them. I mean, they were sitting so far down in the league table. Most possessions, Tottenham and Wolves. Dribbles made, Newcastle with 828 and Wolves with 753. So they're making the runs. But fewest conceded, nobody. Most shutouts, Tottenham in 7th with 11. Tackles won, nobody. Best pass completion, all 3 teams in there. Newcastle all the way at the bottom. Most shots for, Wolves with 455. And then most points per game, Wolves in 8th place. Overall for the players, you got most goals. Raul Jimenez with 24. Second in the league. Erling Haaland with 52. I mean, cheat code central right there. Most assists, Pedro Neto, 10th. Tied for 6. Most player of the match award, you got Alexander Isaac, or is it Ishak? I don't know, but 6 with there. Raul Jimenez was 6. Most dribbles made, San Maximin, Semedo, Lazari, Trippier, and Traore all in there. So a nice grouping in the top 8. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players in the top 8. Fewest conceded, Vlachodimos from Greece, obviously. 24 allowed in 15 appearances. Most shutouts, Hugo Lloris with 11. Tackles won, nobody. Key passes, nobody. Most shots, Raul Jimenez with 87. And then we're back to most goals. Starting with Tottenham with the final. Top goal scorer is Son with 21. Average rating is 717 for Son. Most assists for Son, 13. And then most player of the match awards, Basuma with 4. It's funny going Son, Basuma. Then Alexander Isaac. I'm going to screw that up now. Isaac, 16 goals total in all competitions. Average rating is St. Maximin with 711. Most assists with 10 is St. Maximin. And then Alexander Isaac with 6 player of the match awards. And then finishing up with Wolves, you can see Raul Jimenez with 26 goals in all competitions. A fantastic result there. Raul Jimenez with 713. Pedro Neto with 13 assists. And then most player of the match awards, Raul Jimenez with 6. Overall, this tactic, though, did not work very well with Newcastle and Tottenham. Again, this is definitely one that you can't just plug and play. There's so many instructions that the creator has given you, so many things that you need to try out and do. It is definitely worth taking a look at because he's put so much effort into the Steam Workshop page itself that nobody else does. And it's great to see that someone's doing this. And I mean, there's at home, stick with positive, away, stick with balance. Pressing, how to do pressing. It's not really a gegen pressing or a counter pressing. It's a dynamic pressing system versus certain setups. You should, try to mark DC and AMCRs and things like that. So there's definitely a lot to read up on and a lot to try out. But in this tactic test, it just didn't work, sadly. But that is it for me, Sevian FM and the Football Manager blog channel, saying thank you as always for watching. Take care and enjoy.